Welcome to the Parkinson's Project podcast. The Parkinson's Project seeks to erase the stigma associated with Parkinson's disease while empowering and inspiring those dealing with the affliction to live life to the fullest. The Parkinson's Project aspires to build an engaged, supportive community while examining the journey of living with Parkinson's disease through a positive, empowering perspective. Here is your host of the Parkinson's Project podcast, Tim McNiff.
Hello, everybody. I'm Tim McNiff, and welcome once again to the Parkinson's Project podcast. The Parkinson's Project seeks to eliminate the stigma associated with the disease and instead seeks to empower and inspire those dealing with the affliction to live life to its fullest. The intent of the Parkinson's podcast is to share the stories of the people who are living with PD, to share best practices from the medical people who are on the front line working to find a cure, and to share stories from the advocates, those people who are helping Parkinsonians deal and adapt through diet, exercise, and of course, with love, understanding, and unconditional support. We're going to try to keep our episodes to about 20 to 30 minutes, but if we are in the middle of a compelling discussion, we do reserve the right to extend that conversation to a second episode with the intent of delivering tangible, beneficial content to all who engage with us. And we encourage that engagement with an ultimate goal of putting ourselves out of business when there is no need any longer to talk about PD. And so with that, we would like to welcome Mike Pantaleo to the Parkinson's Project. Mike, welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Tim.
It's great to have you with me today. You are the first guest, and we've only had like 8-9 episodes. You're our first guest who is not directly related to PD or working with the PD community on a regular basis, which of course begs the question, well, why are we talking to you? So let's start with the obvious question. Who in the heck is Mike Pantaleo?
That's a good question, Tim, and thanks for having me on today. Mike Pantaleo is a personal trainer, a performance coach, a football coach, and a fitness guru, I like to think of myself as. We're going to talk a little bit about how I came to be on this podcast in a minute, but really my passion has been fitness for a long, long time, and I hope that's where this conversation goes today.
Well, you were recommended to us because of the work that you did and continue to do with Jason Kopass, who is, of course, an integral part of the Parkinson's Project community, and as a certified personal trainer. You see, this is also the last show that we are going to do in 2021. And so I thought it would be nice to be able to talk about a subject that everyone's going to be thinking about as we start a new year and they go ahead and make some sort of resolution to either lose weight and get in shape or both. And so I thought, let's get a head start by learning about the work that you've done with Jason and to maybe give some words out there to inspire people, whether they suffer from PD or not. So let's start right there. How did you meet and come to work with Jason Kopass?
Thanks again, Tim. Jason, was he your first podcast episode?
First two. It was, he's such a talker. He's always got to talk about himself and blow his own horn. That we actually went about 40 minutes. So it was episodes 1 and 2. Okay.
Well, it was funny. He told this story on one of those I watched as well. I might clean it up a little bit quickly.
Sure.
But I'm a personal trainer at the Shoreview Community Center in Minnesota and part-time. And I got a phone call from my boss one day and he said this woman called and she wanted to explore the possibilities of me training a gentleman with Parkinson's. I responded to my boss, I really don't know anything about that. And he said, well, just do me a favor and call her back. So I called Jason's wife, Christy, and she was really sweet, really cool. And it turns out she's a physician's assistant, which scared me even more, Tim. And I said, ma'am, I don't know much about this, if anything. And she said, well, Jason's seen you from afar. He's read a little bit about you, and he kind of wants to talk to you. Would you talk to him? And I said, sure. And she said, as a resource, she goes, And I heard it on one of your podcasts with one of the physical therapists it's called big training. And I'm sure you're familiar with that now. So I went on that site and I started looking about movement, motion, neurological things. So here comes Jason. So I'm sitting behind my desk and he's a big guy, Tim. And we start talking and he tells me he was a football lineman at Brooklyn Center. He had a cup of coffee at NDSU, blah, blah, blah. And I love football. So we were intrigued and he was a little bit more introverted than I was. And I could see he was thinking. And I said, Jason, I don't know if this is a good fit or not. I said, a typical workout for me is very little science with a client. And I said, we fill up a wheelbarrow with a load of bricks and we push it up a hill. And he said, you're my guy. He said, you're my guy. And I said, okay. So off we went. And the journey has just been magnificent. He's become such a dear friend and his whole family is. And I hope we get to talk a little bit more about the adventure.
Oh, we will, I'm sure. The old wheelbarrow with a load of bricks gets him every time.
Fred Zamberletti.
Oh, I get that reference. I'm not sure how many other people will, but I absolutely know who you're referring to there. Yeah. Beautiful. So was there anything unique about Jason that made the two of you such a good fit? Because I'm guessing there are plenty of people out there who have tried something and perhaps even tried something with you and said, yeah, no, this just isn't for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's good. You know, as a personal trainer and a coach, you see things that people are uncomfortable with, whether it's that it's too hard or they just don't like it. Like Jason doesn't like to swim. We tried swimming a bunch of times and I'm a triathlete and he can swim okay, but he just doesn't like it. He took a shine to running immediately, which shocked me. Distance running.
It surprised you because he was such a big man at the time?
Yeah, because he came in, Tim, you'd have to ask him, but he was 240, 250 in that neighborhood. And, you know, I'm 160. And next thing I know, we're running outside and he really liked it. Maybe it was the endorphin release or I don't know. But I mean, we did all kinds of workouts. I mean, high intensity training workouts, isolation workouts, you name it, in all kinds of climates. We'd go to the track and throw medicine balls around. We'd do one-handed push-ups. And it was really trial and error. And he never, ever said, no, I don't like this. And I mean this. And Jason, don't let it go to your big head. But he is the toughest person I've ever met in my life. And I know some tough people. It's 4 a.m., a text. Where are we going? Outside? We going to the gym? Where are we going? And this is what I'll tell him what we're going to do. And he'd do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you find that you had to change anything or alter anything about your approach to take into account Jason's PD when it came to training him?
Yeah, especially early. So I remember the first workout that I worked with him, a woman came up to me in the gym and whispered to me, did he have a stroke? And I got kind of offended by it. I mean, his left arm was a little recoiled. There was a little bit of a tremor there. And he just was off balance. You could see that. So we started working on that left side a lot. And there was days when we'd run, Tim, and where you could see it would affect him. And I can only imagine how much that hurt, you know, to be off center like that and running on the side of your foot sometimes. But that got better and better and better. And then after he had his brain surgery, what's he call it? The DBS surgery.
DBS.
With Dr. Tuitt, it was on your show. I mean, it's gone. Essentially, once in a blue moon, I'll pick up on it a little bit. But yeah, I mean, initially we had to alter some things and learn, you know, where he was at. He's obviously shown gigantic morphological gains. I mean, he's just a quick story. I mean, when we'd run initially, it used to be run 6 blocks, run a block back and get Jason. Run 6 blocks, run a block back and get Jason. And I enjoyed his conversation. Well, that's 100% reversed. Now, if we went out and ran tomorrow, Jason would run 6 blocks, come back and get Mike.
Wow.
And it was so fun. 2 summers ago was the first race I ever ran with him. And he loves racing. He loves competing. He loves the bright lights. I still get a little anxious when I race. And his whole family and I and my girlfriend went down to Harriet Island to run a 5K. And it was a Parkinson's a promoted race. I think it was the Michael J. Fox race. And I thought this, I'll just run a slow race and finish with him or something like that. He beat me by 4 minutes. His 11-year-old kid beat me by 8 minutes. And it was a humbling day to say that.
I've heard about his son, and I guess I should avoid him on the golf course too.
So all of them, all of them. Yeah.
It is very well documented that exercise has a positive impact on the effects of PD. Can you speak, and I think you did touch on it a little bit, talking about the recoiling of the foot, to the tangible results that you saw and the progress that Jason made?
Yeah, and I'm not a scientist, as I said, Tim, but I think anybody, PD or not PD, getting in shape is going to help you in obvious ways. I mean, mentally, physically, personally, in your relationships, whatever it is, self-esteem, all of those things. So as Jason got more and more fit, and I mean, he's weighing in right now in that 180, 190 range in there. So he lost tremendous weight. And as he got fitter and fitter, things just got easier and easier to do. And there was tangible results. I mean, his mile run time went down. His bench press was equal to where he was in high school. Some of those things. I mean, there was definitely measurable gains. Definitely.
So we've talked about, and you've discussed how your work has benefited Jason. I'm wondering, how has that experience impacted or changed you?
And I don't want, this isn't about me, and it's easy to talk about that, but he went from a client initially to, he's one of my best friends right now, and we pretty much talk or text every day, and we probably work out 4 times a week at least. I mean, we've traveled together and run. The journey, Tim, has just been incredible. It helped me get back in shape. His whole family and I are friends. His dad and I have a place close to each other in Florida now. And I mean, it's just, I can't describe it. Some of the events he's taken me to, he was featured at the Minnesota Twins Diamond Awards a couple years ago as the spokesperson for the University of Minnesota. It was amazing. I mean, we're sitting across from all the Twins. Disney Marathon, going down there and competing with him. Christy competed. His wife won't work out with us anymore, though. She's a pretty good athlete, but she says we don't stay on course good enough.
What do you mean?
Well, like, we'll go into the gym, and I'll say, okay, Jason, here we go. We've got an hour and a half before we got to get to work, okay? And it's just go, go, go. Machine, lift, run, lift, row, lift, ergometer, lift, and she just doesn't like that pace and the non-uniformity of it. So it's really just helped me become a better athlete. It's just a great relationship. Long answer, sorry, Tim.
No, it's a great answer. I appreciate that. As I said earlier, the hope in having you on this episode, is that people who have PD and those who don't get some real benefit out of hearing or seeing this interaction. What are some commonalities between both groups? People who have PD and people perhaps who don't. Maybe Jason's the only person with PD that you've ever worked with. I don't want, you can't make those generalizations, but I guess where I'm going with this is, are there any commonalities that you've seen that may determine whether or not a person is successful in sticking with the program and affecting real change for themselves? So somebody's going to be at New Year's hearing this and saying, I want to make that change. What things are out there? What might they want to consider to make sure that it really works this time?
Well, we can talk about commitment when we sign off here and just the holidays coming and the New Year's. I mean, you just got to flip the light switch on is what I say and get your ducks in a row and commit commit to it. But you know, the similarities I saw, and maybe this is why Jason and I were a fit. You and I are both football coaches. We both have that in our background. You've trained adolescents. I've trained adolescents. It's the same thing. When you get a 16-year-old that can't put their left foot in front of the right foot, it's the same type of movement patterns that you're teaching if you're running through an agility ladder. So it took me a few weeks to figure that out. And then I figured out Jason likes this type of working out, and he's done it before. Cone drills, shuttle drills, those type of things. So that was the epiphany. That really, the light bulb went on there. So there was the commonality. But as we get towards the end here of the podcast, Tim, if you're interested in getting a fitness regime going, whether you have PD or not, just get off the couch, commit to it. And you know what? Nowadays, the day and age of pretentious gyms is behind us. You see people that are extremely overweight and obese in gyms all the time. And I have seen nothing but encouragement in the last 5-10 years from people helping them. Our gym, what we work out at in Shoreview, everybody is supportive of anybody that comes in there. So I would just say, get off the couch, get with it. If you need a trainer, the more I find, especially former field athletes, they like having somebody tell them what to do. Get a trainer. But if you don't, I mean, there's tons of stuff online. And most importantly, just get up and walk, move. If you're a geriatric, if you're obese, just get up and move. And the process will start.
I love it. Okay. Yeah, that was my next question was sort of like, for anyone out there hearing this, for whatever reason, they're paralyzed about taking action, even though they know that they should. What would you say to get them to take that first step? But you sort of address that right there, is just don't be afraid to take that first step. I mean, I think so often in life, the thought of doing something is always worse than actually doing it.
For sure. And I found too, Tim, that if, I bet you 30% of people I've one-on-one coach, personally trained over the years, 30% don't finish the amount of sessions they buy. And more times than not, that can be the trainer's fault. And I'll put that on me too. If you're delivering training to somebody that just really they're uncomfortable with, or it hurts, that's the trainer's fault. So everybody's got a sweet spot, whether it's swimming, biking, rowing, walking, whatever it is, lifting. Sometimes it's hard to identify that, but once you do that and you get that confidence with your trainer or whoever it is, things just seem to get easier.
As a result of your work, and again, we acknowledge that you are not a physical therapist or someone who specializes in working with people who have PD. Do you have some thoughts? I mean, just based on your experience with Jason, like someone else out there sitting there listening to this, how you may be able to perhaps inspire them to get back in the game?
Look at Jason, and then you look at Jason's role models. I know Jason and you, Tim, have talked about his favorite guy, that Jimmy Choi in Chicago, the guy that was the American Ninja Warrior that has Parkinson's disease. Jason and I we'd sit in the gym at 5 a.m. on his phone watching a video of him working out, doing elevated push-ups and stuff, and it was game on. So, I can't speak to motivation for an individual, but whatever motivates you. And just as simple as it is, walking is just, I've seen so many people start a fitness regime with walking and show almost immediate results. So that might be my simple advice.
Well, my last question is something that I've decided to end each and every interview with, because it has a sort of universal approach to it. And that question is, if someone comes across this podcast and they are not directly affected by PD or even know someone who is, can they still play a role in helping to eradicate this disease?
For sure. Participate, get involved. get involved, whatever it is. Go work a table at one of the expos, at one of the events. There's plenty of events that are geared for raising money for Parkinson's disease. I wanted to really tell you, there's a lot of things that, as we one last look at Jason, Tim, Jason truly believes, and initially I really wasn't on the same page. He truly believes by raising money with his golf outings, all the benefits he does, that he will be part of the cure to Parkinson's. And you could not change his mind that it doesn't. So just get involved, whatever it takes. If you know somebody with Parkinson's, and we all do, be supportive of them. Ask them that question. So that's really, he's dragged me into it, and it's been a wonderful adventure. We go to all kinds of events together, and it's great.
Well, I understand he has quite the team behind him, and so I look forward to getting to know them and engage with them too, because you're right. I've only met Jason one time. We had lunch, and you said to me, that he probably goes about 185, 190. Well, he's quite a bigger man than I am, and I know I'm tipping the scales at least $190. So I'm going, I guess I better get back on it myself.
We got to go work out with the football team.
Something like that. We'll scare up the ghost of Fred Zamberletti.
There we go.
And get going again.
Yeah.
Mike, I can't thank you enough. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your insight. Anything else you want to add?
No, that was good, Tim. It's good to have you in the family too. Pat, and for you people that are watching, Pat Forcia, he's the executive producer.
That's correct.
He's a professional and personal friend of mine as well, gang. He confided in me, probably 2 years ago, that he had Parkinson's, and I started telling him the journey with Jason, and it just deepened our friendship as well. And he's doing great too. So anything I can do to help, let me know. Tim, you are really valued to the direction we're going to. We're going to see you at the golf outing. I know that. So you don't want to play golf with us?
Oh, but I'm telling you what, you don't want to play golf with me, but I'll be there, So just with Pat real quickly, I'm familiar with Pat's story all the way through the cycle of it. And Pat approached me about, taking part and doing these things. And I said many, many, many years ago, like 20, 30 years ago, I was such a fan of Pat's. I was like, man, if I could just work with Pat Forcia. And when Pat Forcia called me and asked me, told me he had Parkinson's disease and would I help him with this? I mean, there was no real reason for me to say yes, other than the fact that, no, I had said, and I remembered saying that if I had ever had the chance to work with Pat Forcia, I was going to do it. So I'm like, yeah, if you'll have me, I'll do it. And so taking part in this and doing these interviews and speaking with the people in the community, and I love this. Every time I get one of these, do one of these interviews, I feel better the rest of the day. I feel lighter the rest of the day. So I don't know what I'm doing. I know nothing about Parkinson's disease other than what I've learned in the X number of months I've been here. But and to take me back where you're concerned, Pat, during our earliest discussions, kept talking about Jason this and Jason that, and I'm like, who in the world is Jason? I didn't know Jason, and then after I met Jason and everything, they're like, oh, now you got to meet Mike and you got to talk to Mike Pantaleo. So here we are. You're helping us close out 2021, and we're going to be back with more of these in 2022. The engagement has been, I don't know. I don't know anything that's had the engagement that this series of videos and podcasts has. It's been amazing. So my sincere hope, Mike, is that you and I are kind of fumbling through the dark here, where Parkinson's is concerned. Somehow we're helping, and we will help find a cure for this thing.
I agree.
Mike Pantaleo works in the food service industry, but he has several connections when it comes to fitness. He is, of course, as he said, a personal trainer. He can help people. How can people contact you, Mike, if they want to find out more about you and the work that you do?
They just simply send me an email. My email's simple. It's Pinto, like the old car or horse, Pinto Trains at Comcast.net. That's my nickname. So.
And you're located where?
I live in the city of Shoreview.
So you're kind of in that St. Paul, suburban St. Paul area, northern, and you don't really travel too far to work with people, do you? It's more going to be people coming to you?
Nope, I haven't. I want to open an office in Fort Myers. I have a home down there now too, but that's a ways off the horizon.
So you'll be wintering down there or still here?
At least partially wintering.
Sounds beautiful. Yeah, good for you. Well earned, I'm sure. Mike, we want to thank you for joining us and for all you've done for Jason over the course of the time, and everyone out there is trying to improve their physical health. The Parkinson's Project seeks to be a place where you can come for a range of information about PD and to find support for yourselves or perhaps for someone you love. We encourage you to check us out at Facebook at the Parkinson's Project. You can find the Parkinson's Project podcast wherever you find your favorite podcast. We'd ask you to check us out and rate us so we can grow and continue to give support in the ongoing effort to eradicate this affliction. This has been the Parkinson's Project podcast. For executive producer Pat Forcia, I'm Tim McNiff. I want to thank you for joining us, and we look forward to meeting and working with all of you as we seek to build a supportive, empowering community through the Parkinson's Project.
Thank you for engaging with the Parkinson's Project podcast. Be sure to look for more content on the Parkinson's Project Facebook page, and we'll see you right here on the next edition of the Parkinson's Project podcast.